It goes without saying that Vettel is one of the legends in the sport, one of the greatest to ever do it, and his mark in the most elitist and competitive racing category has been truly huge. Although he was one of the most hated drivers back in his Red Bull and Ferrari days due to his off-track actions, Vettel managed to turn his rivals and haters into his fans, which is something that is very hard to accomplish. Vettel has received a lot of positive feedback from other drivers, as well as Mattia Binotto, who criticized him for labeling his 6 seasons with Ferrari as, quote, failures. Vettel started his career back in 2007 with BMW, and in his debut he was able to score 1 point at the US GP. In 2008, he scored his first win with Toro Rosso, even before any other Red Bull driver has scored a win for the Austrian team. It was a truly remarkable start to his season, as he was able to crown it with 4 championships from 2010 to 2013. So what do other drivers think about Vettel and his accomplishments? Max Verstappen, the 2-time world champion, was able to fight Seb in his Ferrari days. However, he didn't have the luck of claiming to be Vettel's teammate, which is something he could regret for the rest of his career. But Verstappen has been really touched by Seb's actions in the past, and now that his retirement has been officially announced, Verstappen spoke about the aftermath of the Silverstone GP and how Vettel approached him after the 2021 incident that Verstappen endured with Hamilton. One thing I will always remember for the rest of my life: last year in Silverstone, I came back from the hospital to get my motorhome to get all my stuff, and he was there, waiting for me when I got out of the car. And he said, "Are you okay, Max? How are you doing? Are you okay?" And that just shows how he is, a super nice, caring person who's not only there for performance, but also means well, I think that's also really nice to be remembered like that. He will definitely be missed. Unlike Verstappen, Mark Webber is a driver who can brag about being Vettel's teammate. However, Webber's experience with Vettel is far from a positive one, as we all remember the Multi-21 situation in Malaysia in 2013, when Vettel was given the command to lift off and cruise for P2, but he chose to attack his teammate and pass him. Webber still has a lot of respect for the former Red Bull champion, and regarding his retirement, the Aussie said, God, we're fine now. It was obviously pretty tense when you're fighting for championships at the front together. We had a few years where I was in contention, a couple years where I wasn't. It always gets a bit strained. It's easier to be teammates when you're fighting for points, obviously. Championships and wins is a bit more challenging, which is obviously well advertised in lots of different scenarios throughout the sport. We weren't alone in that scene. Now, obviously, he's changed his whole position, hasn't he? As his career's gone on, especially in the last year or so, his whole position has changed in terms of what he's motivated by and looking forward to in the next phase of his life. And fair play. Another teammate that Vettel had, although it was for just 1 year, and who has a lot of praise for the 4-time world champion, is Daniel Ricciardo. Both of them shared the Red Bull car in 2014 when the team started its downfall and lost to Mercedes, and Ricciardo was really touched by Sebastian's approach to the sport. The Australian has a lot of praise and respect for the German, further adding, "To be honest, I really think Seb has been a teammate I've got on the best with. Nothing against previous teammates, not at all. But I just think the respect he's shown for me has always remained high. It's easy after my first win when he congratulated me, but even after finishing second and third, he was still as humble as he could have been. I earned more respect for him for the way he showed it to me, so that was very nice." Let's go back to his Ferrari days, or more specifically, the teammates he had in Ferrari. Vettel enjoys a lot of respect for Kimi Räikkönen, who to this day remains the last Ferrari champion, winning this title in the 2007 season. The Iceman said that he enjoys a very close relationship with Giovinazzi, one of the drivers who were his teammates, but also with Vettel, as both of them used to live very close to each other and had common outdoor activities. I have with Antonio Giovinazzi a very good relationship, because also, obviously, we've been now 3 years in the same team, but he was at Ferrari when I was there. So I think it's very similar, because Antonio was involved in a lot of things there, even those years, so we knew each other already. But probably the closest of anyone as a driver, for sure, were Seb and Antonio. But also with Seb, we used to live very close to each other, so we got to spend more time together outside of the race. Charles Leclerc was another Ferrari teammate who shared the stage with Vettel. The Monegasque came in as a replacement for Räikkönen in 2019, and he had a lot of praise for the German, mostly for the way that Vettel was able to influence Leclerc in the early stages of his career. Leclerc and Vettel drove together in the troublesome 2020 season for Ferrari, where they ended P6 in the Constructors' Championship, the worst outcome in such a long time. When talking about the 4-time world champion, Leclerc added, "He is the hardest worker in the F1 paddock for sure. When I came from Alpha Sauber, I arrived casually in the morning and he had already been sitting in the office for an hour and a half. I took this approach from him because I also arrive quite early and leave very late. But when it happened for the first time, I asked myself, why does he do that? What does he need so much time for? With more experience and the more I talked to him, the more I saw that there are little details that I didn't take care of at the beginning, but I did. That has made a difference. I learned a lot of things from him, especially at that point in my career when I was still very young. It was good to have an experienced driver like Seb by my side. Let's see what some of his fiercest rivals, including Lewis Hamilton, have to say about the German's career and Sebastian Vettel's potential return to Formula One. Hamilton and Vettel had their fair share of battles, with them culminating on multiple occasions, such as in Baku in 2017. Vettel apologized for this incident at the last GP for him in Abu Dhabi this season, and Hamilton had a very interesting response as well, adding, "I think we've always had such great battles. I was just sitting here thinking, most drivers are coming back. He's coming back. You're probably going to come back. We're seeing other drivers coming back, so I'm sitting here kind of accepting that it's your last race, but you'll be back. Formula One has a way of sucking you back in. We've noticed that from so many drivers." But from all these statements, the one from Binotto has the largest impact on Vettel's career and his legacy at Ferrari, because Binotto defended him and his statement that the 6 years that he spent at Ferrari were a failure, due to the fact he wasn't able to win a championship with the team. When talking about this matter, Binotto added, "I think he is somehow right because when he joined Ferrari, he was ambitious. His objective was to win the title with Ferrari, and I think together with himself, it was our dream and our objective as well. So it has been a failure for him, but it has been a failure altogether as a team. He has been very close, or at least the closest he's been was 2017 or 2018, so we had a few opportunities and we didn't get it. And I think somehow when your final objective is to do that and you do not achieve it, it's a failure." Obviously, Vettel enjoys a lot of love throughout the grid, especially among the fans, now that he's the main ambassador for minorities such as the LGBTQ+ community and the racism involved in the sport. On the other hand, Vettel is one of the main facilitators for more women in the sport, which has been welcomed very well by the feminists in the world. What do you think about the 4-time world champion? Let us know in the comments below.